It's a great privilege to be here. It's great to have the opportunity to address you, but more importantly, to listen to people who bring experience and knowledge from across the world. Our focus today is extremism, and we cannot begin without mentioning the outrage in Egypt just a couple of weeks ago. The bombing of a mosque, followed by the shooting of innocents, was a truly sickening crime, and another shocking demonstration of the barbarity of evil extremism which all of our nations are confronting today. Let us also not forget the terrorism that our oldest friends have also had to deal with here in Bahrain, with a policeman killed just a short time ago in the service of protecting others. It is a savage reminder that even as we kick Daesh out of Iraq, depose them from Raqqa, and contemplate the end game, we can never afford complacency. The danger is far from over. We cannot take anything for granted. Daesh do not need to hold territory in order to wage war. They do not have to hold territory in order to bring terror to our countries, for they will disperse, move to new battlefields, seek new ungoverned spaces, and bring torture, depravity, and misery with them. Yet, Daesh is not alone. In Africa, we face their loathsome allies in Al-Shabaab and Boko Haram. On the Arabian Peninsula, there's the abomination of Al-Qaeda. And we're also contending with other state actors who use finance and military support to damage and undermine their peaceful neighbours. Collectively, these dangers threaten our streets, destabilise regional security, and put pressure on the entire international order, on which our security, stability, and prosperity right across the world depends. So a new phase is beginning, making today's exam question, how to respond to political and military extremism in the Middle East, all the more relevant. But as we reach the end of 2017, I believe our counter-Daesh campaign has taught us 3 lessons that will be invaluable in the days, months, and years to come. First, we need to fight extremism on every single front. This is not just about military force. It's not just about stopping fighters crossing borders. It's not just about shutting down their financial means of support. It's also about taking the terrorists on in the virtual as well as the real world, infiltrating their communication channels, shutting down their social media mouthpieces, working with internet providers to reduce the time it takes to remove terrorist content, and stopping their sites being uploaded in the first place. We cannot give up on the battle for hearts and minds, especially when they are trying to infect those who are youngest and sometimes the most vulnerable in all of our societies. The second lesson is the need to win the battle of ideas, eradicating the virus of extremism, which knows no national borders and cares nothing for those it infects. We've had success in reducing Daesh's propaganda output by 85% and overturning its overblown rhetoric, showing that they are the losers, not the winners that they want to be seen to be. Now our challenge is to defeat the ideologues wherever we find them, combating their extremist narrative, calling out their twisted ideology, and making clear there can never be a justification for the murder of innocents. My belief is the UK practices what it preaches. We've banned 110 foreign extremists from entering the United Kingdom. We will ban more. We've revoked British passports from 155 extremists. We will do more. We've arrested extremists like Ajam Chowdhury and deported Abu Qatada and Abu Hamza. In the United Kingdom, it is against the law to incite hate, tolerate, support, or justify terrorism. But we want to do more than simply prevent extremism. We want to proudly promote our way of life as a better alternative for the disaffected, showing we stand for the values of moderation, belief in human life, tolerance of different views, and justice for all. Showing we support free trade and its power to create opportunity for each and every citizen. Showing nothing can dampen our desire to deepen democracy and encourage its spread. From what I've said so far, it should be clear that the UK is not stepping back from the fray. On the contrary, we're stepping up. We're proud of a role that the United Kingdom has played in combating Daesh, conducting more than 1,600 airstrikes, training more than 60,000 members of the Iraqi security forces. And we've made it clear we will support the Iraqis as long as they want and need our assistance. In fact, we're investing £10 million in the next 3 years to strengthen Iraqi counter-terrorism. But the third lesson we've learned is that defeating global terror demands stronger global partnerships. We've seen the success of counter-Daesh coalition has had militarily. We need to see the same politically to win the battle of ideas. That's why we support Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman's efforts to fight extremism, whether through the Islamic Military Counter-Terrorism Coalition, the Ideological Warfare Centre, or the Global Centre for Countering Extremist Ideology. It's why we're supporting Prime Minister Abadi's government of national unity in Iraq, and we're urging the Iraqi people to ensure next year's crucial elections further reconciliation we have further reconciliation, and we lay the ground for the sort of representative political landscape that unites all Iraqis against extremism. And it is why we continue to press for a lasting political solution in Syria to neutralize the terrorist threat. Ultimately, Assad is a barrier to peace. He's used chemical weapons on his own people and created a space for Daesh to flourish. He represents the past and not the future. Partnerships right across the globe are absolutely vital, but none more so than here in the Gulf. Our enemies will seize on any hint of division to drive a wedge between us. The United Kingdom is proud of our close and historic relationship with all of our long-term friends here in the Gulf. We know that Gulf security is our security. Without a secure Gulf, then the world is a less safe place. That's why we're redoubling our commitment. We've a permanent presence east of Suez for the first time in 40 years. And I've recently had a tour of our new naval base, HMS Jafar. We've got a permanent British defence staff in Dubai, and we've committed to a permanent presence in Oman. We also believe a role of a GCC is vital. This is something that needs to be nurtured and built upon. However, first, all parties must iron out their disagreements, participate in mediation, discuss demands in a measured and realistic way, engage seriously with neighbours' concerns, and relax restrictions. We want to see partners returning to the table. The world is becoming a darker place. It is in all of our interests to unite against terror and extremism. I'd like to conclude with one final lesson from our counter-Daesh campaign. We must never give up. We're engaged in a generational struggle against adversaries intent on destroying our way of life, our nations. So we must show total commitment for the long term to rid the world of the evil of our times. Yet as long as we act in unison, I'm absolutely convinced that in the end we will triumph. But we can only do that through those partnerships. And I'd like to take this as an opportunity to say a particular thank you to His Majesty the King and the Kingdom of Bahrain for the work that they have done with the United Kingdom. His Majesty had the vision that he wanted to have a permanent British presence here in Bahrain. His vision, his enthusiasm, his commitment to the idea, and an alliance, a coalition of 200 years is what drove it. In our country, we are deeply indebted for that kindness and that vision, because it is not just about the security of Bahrain in terms of what the two nations are investing in. We're investing in the security of the Gulf, because without that security, without that peace, without that prosperity that we can all bring as allies, the world becomes so much darker. Thank you.